We're moving on to something else. Okay, these are called inverse functions. Okay, inverse functions. Now, when I'm teaching this, I just think about the thing, okay, reverse. Inverse kind of like sounds like reverse. That's kind of where you get that. And basically, we're reversing, we're turning the function around. Now, again, when you get into higher math, there's different reasons why this is important. Okay, but inverse functions basically is kind of like rearranging the function into its opposite, in reverse, putting the function in reverse. Okay, now, just for definition, we basically switch the x and y. Okay, so we're going to switch the x and y. Now, from this, there's kind of, obviously, back from Algebra 1, okay, this is called function notation, okay, having it like this, f of x. But remember, f of x is just another way to say the y. I mean, so all of these, when you see f of x, you can think of that as really as the y equals. I mean, this is kind of like y equals mx plus b, what we're used to in Algebra 1. So f of x is just another way of writing y. So then if we go back to what I was saying, inverse means we're going to reverse or switch the x and y. What that means then is y then becomes x and x becomes y. Okay, and now I'm going to solve that for y. So now that I'm switching the x and y, and now solve for y. Now again, we're not going to get like y equals 2 or something like that. What you're going to do is just rearrange until you can't do anything more and get y by itself. Okay, so again, y is right here. It's being subtracted by 3. So step 1, I'm going to add 3 to both sides. Okay, that cancels. X plus 3 cannot be solved. So that's just going to stay x plus 3. And then the 2y comes down. Okay, I need to get 2 away from the y, so I divide by 2. Now again, I've got a binomial here, so guys, they both will be divided by 2. Now obviously that cannot be simplified, that cannot be solved. Now again, inverse notation is f to the negative 1x. So again, this little minus 1 is called inverse notation. So the little minus 1, when you put that on the function notation, that means it's the inverse. And basically, I'm done. I mean, that's the answer. So that answer that I got when y is by itself, y gets replaced by that inverse notation. Again, I can turn that function around. It doesn't matter if the y is second or I rearrange it. But x plus 3 over 2 is my inverse answer right there, the inverse function. Okay, so again, this is just kind of rearranging mathematical things. Okay, this is not that hard. Okay, so let's look at the second one. Again, f of x is really the same as y, so I can sort of put y on top of f of x. Okay, so y becomes x. And again, now this is obviously a little more complicated function. Okay, 3x plus 5 over 2. So I'm going to turn it into 3y plus 5 over 2. Okay, now guys, back to some algebra. We have to get rid of the complex fraction first. I got to get rid of the 2. Now remember, the bottom of a fraction means divide. So that 2 is dividing. So to cancel that 2, I'm going to multiply by 2. That cancels whatever I do to one side, multiply this by 2. Okay, now I have 2x equals 3y plus 5. So again, the 2 is gone on the bottom. 2 times x makes 2x. Now I'm going to solve this for y. Now I'm kind of back similar to the one at the top. Okay, I'm going to get rid of plus or minus, so minus 5. Okay, minus 5. Okay, I'm going to move up where I have a little more room. Now again, 2x minus 5 cannot be put together, can't really be solved, so I just write it down. Okay, let me put a little squiggle line there. So I got 2x minus 5 equals that 3y. Okay, so again, 5's canceled. I have 2x minus 5 equals 3y. Just like the other one, divide by 3. Okay, divide by 3. And guys, that's as far as y's by itself. Now again, once y's by itself, we use that inverse function notation. And whatever's over here is my answer. So the inverse function, f of negative 1x, is that answer, which would be 2x minus 5 over 3. Okay, and that would be your answer right there. So again, we've got two different ones here depending on what I gave you. Now, just some different variations here that they're giving us, okay, that I want to show you. Okay, in some ways, these are a little bit easier, but just got to have to remember some of your rules. Again, f of x is the same as y. So x is there, 16, y squared. So again, x becomes y. Okay, now step 1, I'm trying to get y by itself. I'm going to get rid of 16 by dividing by 16. Dividing by 16. Now again, I want to think of this as a number that I can, because I'm going to have to do something more. So guys, just like we did kind of with some of that other stuff, I'm trying to think. Some of the other things we did, we put a 1 here so I can work with that. So really, in a way, I have 1/16. Yeah, we did that when we were doing the sine and cosine waves. That's what it was. So remember, if there's no numerator, I'm going to put a 1 there. So 1/16 x, okay, equals, okay, y squared. Everybody see that? Now, guys, we've done this multiple times. How do I get rid of a square? I'm trying to get y by itself. Remember, square root. Remember, that cancels a square. So I'm going to square root. Okay? Now, again, I'm going to move up where I have some room. Remember, square root of 1. 1 times 1 is 1. So really, 1, square root of 1 stays 1. Square root of 16 is 4. Okay? But that x cannot be square rooted, so actually that stays underneath. And guys, that is the answer. Now I'm going to go ahead and just leave it, okay? I mean, this is really not wrong. That's the answer right there, okay? I mean, I could have this rearranged, the f of negative 1x like we did those other ones, but that's fine right there. So guys, that's the answer, 1/4. So the 1 here got square rooted to 1. 1 times 1 makes 1. Square root of 16 is 4. And then x cannot be square rooted, so it has to stay underneath the radical. Again, that's the answer right there. That's as far as you can go. 1/4 radical x is the inverse. Okay, very similar on this second one. It's just a little bit bigger power. Okay, this is y. Okay, so this becomes x 625 y to the 4th. Now again, this is really similar to up here. Divide away the 625. Divide by 625. Again, think of a 1 there. Okay, now I'm going to move up here where I have some room. So what I have is 1 over 625 x, again, the 625s go away, equals y to the 4th. Okay? Now, again, just like we did to get rid of y squared, we square rooted. To get rid of y to the 4th, we 4th root. Okay, that cancels. Now, the 4th root means something times itself 4 times. So something 4 times makes a 1. Now, guys, 1 is kind of simple. 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. 4 1s times themselves stays 1. So that is, the 4th root of 1 is 1. Now, this one's the tougher one, but again, use your calculator. You can use your head. Think about it. Some number 4 times makes 625. So, I mean, you can kind of try some numbers, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. We were doing some of this with some of that logarithm stuff. 3 times 3 times 3, nope. 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. Nope. Guess what? 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. 5 4 times. So the fourth root of 625 is 5. And guys, I'm going to give you numbers that work. I mean, I'm not going to give if that was not a number that could be 4 times, something that went 4 times, it wouldn't work. Okay? Now again, this x cannot be fourth rooted, so it actually has to stay underneath. And I know that looks weird, but that is the answer here. 1/5 fourth root x is the answer on that. 1/5 fourth root x, that little 4. You got to have that little 4 up there. Okay, since it's a fourth root. Now square root, remember, you don't really have to have a little 2 there. I mean, you could put a 2 there, it would be the same answer. Okay, but square roots, just use the check mark thing. But a fourth root, you got to have a little 4 there. So obviously a cube root would have a little 3 there. Okay? So again, 1/5 fourth root x is my inverse. And again, you can write it like this. That's fine. Okay, obviously tonight's assignment, it's going to be a little weird trying to type that in. Okay, type it in the best you can. I know depending on what you can type on your computer. Okay, remember you can use division sign for a fraction. Again, I know the fourth root, that's going to be a little tricky. Okay, guys, as long as you try stuff and enter something in, I'm going to give you credit. Okay, just do the best you can on typing it in. Okay, there's your first problem. Okay, that's the easier kind right there. Just f of x equals 4x minus 7 over 3. Okay, then here's that second type. Okay, this is the one that's going to have that fraction with the root. Okay, f of x equals 27x cubed. Okay, so again, try those two, enter those into the post on the journal of the question, and let me know if you're stuck. Okay, see ya. Bye.